Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the CD Sport Podcast with me, Kerry Davis. Joining us today is TEF 29 finalist from Team Volkanovski, UFC bantamweight, Brady Hiestand. How are you, Brady?
Good. How are you?
Very good, mate. Appreciate you giving up your time and speaking to me from across the pond.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
I'll ask you straight away. How's the knee and how's the knee recovery going?
It's good. I'm approaching 6 days out from surgery now, so I'm looking to just start PT here soon. It's been all right. It's the hardest thing is just not being able to do much. I've been kind of immobile. I have to just do my exercises. I'll show you really quick. I spend 6 hours a day in this machine. Jesus. And it literally just moves my leg around, and you just strap into it. I know it looks like a crazy contraption. And you literally just strap your leg into it, and it just slowly moves your leg around and slowly builds up the flexibility into it. And so I do that, and then I hop into my Game Ready. Game Ready sent me over a leg sleeve that just it's pretty much like a big ice pack and pressurizes it and just kind of gets rid of inflammation. So most of my day is just sitting in these machines. But other than that, I've been watching a lot of tape and just kind of relaxing.
Beautiful. So I was reading, you put it on your Instagram page. So you have to take a bit of your hamstring to fix your ACL and meniscus. Is that what you have to do?
Yeah. So there's a few different ways people have done it. They've taken it from their quad, from the patella tendon, and from the hamstring. And my doctor decided to take it from my hamstring because he says sometimes with the patella tendon, you can have some issues, especially being a grappler in the future. Yeah. So he just went in there and cut a little piece of the hamstring and replaced it in the ACL.
Ah, beautiful. And what have they given you a rough time when you'll be I'm not going to say back fighting, but when you can like do a bit of training and stuff again?
So they said lightly I can start training after 4 months.
Oh shit.
And then the earliest I could be fully recovered and start training at a full capacity is 6 months. I know. So it's going to be a little bit of a journey. And obviously, if I'm going to fight again, especially in the UFC at such a high level, I'm going to want a pretty long training. Like once the 6 months is up, I'm going to need at least 3 months probably to get back into, fighting shape. So it's looking like probably 9 months out before I fight next at the earliest.
Wow. That's a bit of a time out. But luckily, you're still you're 22 or 23 now?
Yeah, 22.
There we are. You're very young still. So
yeah, luckily, hopefully I can still fight by the time before I turn 23. Because I turned 23 in the end of April, so hopefully I'm back before then.
Oh wow, yeah. So there we are. So you've got a bit of a while until you turn 23. But,
yeah.
No, we obviously I want to talk to you about your time in being on the Ultimate Fighter 29. How does an opportunity like that come about, Brady? Like, did Michael Chiesa pull some strings for you, or what's the goal?
Yeah, honestly, it's obviously I've been fighting on the local scene for a while and coming up in the gym with like Mike Chiesa, and we have a few other people like Juliana Pena who also won her season, and then our other teammate Sam Cecilia was actually on the same season as Mike, and so training at that gym, once the Ultimate Fighter application came out, they're like, dude, hop in this and we'll put in a good word for you. And so luckily after I put in my application, Mike and Juliana both called the producer and just let him know they're like, this kid's gonna make it all the way. Yeah. And luckily it worked out and they got me on the show.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And like I say, you went into the house with a good record, 5-1 going into the show as well. So it's a good record. And so obviously when you get into the house, you knew, do you know anyone, like, in the bantamweight scene? Obviously you knew Josh, didn't you? He's from the same town as you. But was there anyone else you knew and stuff going into it?
Actually it's funny because I talked to him about going in because Spokane's a pretty small city, and growing up I've always known Josh and I've trained with Josh a little bit. And so he was always like the veteran 135er in town.
Yeah.
And as I started coming up the ranks, it kind of, out of everyone in town, it was kind of me and him and maybe like one or two other guys, but pretty much me and him that were like the top prospects at 35 in town. And he had already, kind of moved to big promotions in Russia and stuff. So we never fought. So we started training together. And as we got closer, I saw him kind of training harder. And so we kind of messaged each other and we're like, hey, you getting ready for the show? And what solidified it was actually, I just remembered is I had scheduled to go get my blood work done for the show. And I was in the waiting room. And as I was in the waiting room, I look across and I see Josh and we make eye contact and I'm like, are we here for the same thing? And he's like, yep. Yeah. And so that's when I knew he was on the show.
That's so literally you didn't say nothing. That's how you found out when you're doing your medical.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. I kind of suspected, but it was like, once it was there, I was like, oh yeah, we're both going to Vegas. And then we ended up flying on the same plane. They flew us out on the same plane. So we sat next to each other and stuff on the way to Vegas and everything.
Yeah. All right. And that's like, obviously he was your first fight as well, like on the show, but they teamed you up on purpose. They matched you on purpose as well, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, trust me, and Josh did everything we could not to fight each other. Yeah. We talked to the coaches. It was actually in the fight, it was Ortega's pick. So it was Ortega's coaches that picked the fight. And it was me and Josh were like talking to each other and we're like, dude, I was like, Josh, you got to talk to your coaches. And he's like, I know I've said it a few times that I don't want to fight you, that I would rather fight Ricky. And I was like, dude, I want to fight Dan and all this stuff. And so we were all planning that it was going to end up that way, but it ended up the way it ended up. So
yeah, obviously you won quite convincingly in that fight as well. And but yeah, you could say you were very respectful, and you went in there to do your job. But it was one of them things that you weren't talking no crap or nothing. You just did the job and you moved on with the show, didn't you? But nah, man, it was some really good fights on the show. I watched it throughout I was normally when I watch the Ultimate Fighter, I normally like wait till it finishes and then I'll just binge watch all of them. So this time round, because it was the return of the Ultimate Fighter, wasn't it? So it hasn't been no Ultimate Fighter for a while. So when it got announced, I was really excited to watch it. So I was tuning in it was on Wednesdays over here in the UK.
It's on Tuesdays over here.
Tuesdays, yeah, right. So we had a day later. But man, it was some cracking fights on there, you know what I mean? Really, really good fights. And even the finale, you and Ricky, I watched it back earlier actually, just to refresh my memory. And I know you came up short of a really close split decision, and it could have gone either way. But man, it was such a good fight, And Ricky seemed like a cool dude as well. He was on Team Volkanovski, wasn't he?
Yeah, dude, that was the hardest part of the show, is like, being in a house with people. Even you see on the old seasons, you see people start like getting irritated with each other. But dude, my season was full of a bunch of cool guys, and it was hard to get mad at all these people. Like Josh was a good buddy. Vince, I didn't really talk to so much, so there was really nothing to hate him over. Yeah. But me and Ricky were good buddies on the show, so it was like getting ready to fight him and stuff was it was interesting. It was like competing against guys in the gym that
yeah,
especially when I fought Josh, obviously.
how far after the show finished? How long after was the Ricky fight then? How long is the film into the finale?
So we got out of the house. At the end of May.
Right. All right. Yeah.
So,
end of May, June, July.
May,
end of August.
June, July, August. So we had like 2.5 months. Right? 3 months.
3 months. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we got out before the first episode aired. So we were out all 12 episodes. And then we fought. So we were out the whole 3 months. Literally the day we got out, I think that following Friday is when they aired the first season or first episode.
So you got to watch it all when you were back home.
Yeah. So I got a couple of weeks of like kind of, enjoying myself, seeing the family and stuff. But then I hopped right back into camp.
Yeah.
Ready.
I found it. Is it no? I thought maybe you would have fought on the Ortega Volkanovski card, being the coaches in there, but obviously it ended up being on the Barboza Chikate card. But
yeah. I was a little bummed about that. I think the biggest issue might have been the fact that Australia was having trouble, and it was maybe hard for Volkanovski to get back to the US, or maybe schedule issues with that. because, you know, they wanted us to fight right after the season ended. So we ended up fighting like literally the week after the last episode.
Yeah.
And I think that was more important than us fighting on their card in the UFC's eyes.
Yeah.
And so when the Volkanovski Ortega fight couldn't be put on that day, they're like, it doesn't matter. We need the Ultimate Fighters to fight.
Yeah. It's a
but
good,
I would have way rather have fought with Volkanovski and Ortega as the headliner. That would have been amazing. Man. But it was still like awesome to see, you know, Barbosa and Gige go at it. That was, you know, you can't complain. That was an amazing fight too.
Oh, all like even like your fight, and then after you had Brian Battle winning the middleweight, and then obviously the Edson fight. But yeah, your fight, you guys were just like, for someone like you're more known as the grappler, anyway, they say. Like you're very good jiu-jitsu and good wrestler, but you were fucking swinging, man. You got some good hands as well, haven't you? And I love your left. You throw like a head kick, you know, with your left leg. It's you use that a lot in your fights. I like it. It's a good weapon you got.
Yeah, and actually, I'm pretty known for that in the gym, and I usually throw it a lot more. It's one of my most dominant strikes. But you know, the fact that my knee has been messed up, you know, for the whole season, you know, I didn't get to throw it at all, like very little. Usually I throw it quite often and I mix it in very well and stuff like that. But like if you watched in the first Josh fight, the first kick I threw was that head kick. Yeah, and when he caught it, my knee buckled and like I fell down off of it. And so then the rest of that fight, I didn't throw any more kicks with it. So it was like, it's one of those things that like, I wish I could have used it more because I've always used it in sparring and in all my previous fights, but it was limited. And so it's kind of cool that you still noticed it and that it still shined through at least a little bit.
Yeah, I've watched obviously some of your other fights like before you went on the show when you were using that kick as well. And but yeah, even like when you there's footage of you like training and stuff with Team Volk, and you're always throwing that well, not always, but I see you throw it quite regular and you make it look so easy, you know. But
for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, obviously having like Volkanovski and Craig Jones and stuff as well, training you for that period in the house. That must have been quite a surreal experience for you.
It was literally like, you know, a dream come true. It was crazy being able to train with guys like that. And, you know, obviously Volkanovski is a champ and he knows so much and he was such a cool guy. Dude, like when I was getting ready for Vincent, you know, him and Vincent are about the same size. Like they're both like 5'6", stocky dudes, good power. And so literally the whole entire lead up to the Vincent fight, Volkanovski was my main training partner. And I would do my game plan on him every day. And, you know, a lot of guys that are at that level, you know, they don't think about other people, especially, you know, us guys just coming up that aren't even in the UFC. Yeah. And so the fact that he put that much time aside and let me do my thing, you know, it helped a lot with that victory over Vincent.
Yeah, right. And as I wanted to ask you that too, obviously you got these big names, like obviously, like you said, on your side, you had Volkanovski, you had Craig Jones. I know you had Cowboy Cerrone come in for a session as well. Michael Chiesa obviously came down to help you boys out. But like, say, like Volkanovski and stuff, is he there like every session like we see on the cameras, or is he just come in for the cameras type thing?
Dude, he was there every day. All of the coaches were actually, you know, obviously not Mike and Cowboy because they were just like guest coaches.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, they were there all the time. They were there more than we were because most of the time they would get like a training session in before we got there. And then once we got there, they would train with us. Right. And so we would walk in and they would be like grappling each other and doing their thing. And then once we got there, all the attention shift to us. And so it wasn't like we were just training with them, but we were like the main focus. And they were like putting all their effort into us. And they were making sure that we were getting the best training we could. And, you know, they were playing to our strengths, getting to know us. And, you know, it was really cool. Yeah.
How did rounds go with Craig Jones in the jiu-jitsu?
Oh, dude, that was a dream. You know, obviously I'm a grappler. Yeah. You know, I've been grappling since I was 14. I won Youth Worlds, and that's where I kind of started was jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And so me and my brother trained jiu-jitsu. It kind of runs in the family. And so going on to the show, one of the things my brother was saying, he's like, dude, Craig Jones is gonna be on Volk's team. You gotta train with Craig if you're on Volk's. And so training with Craig was cool. Yeah. He's a wizard, bro. Like, even though he was a little bit bigger than me, he used no strength, and he was just tapping me out, tapping everybody out with ease, and with a cheeky smile the whole time. It was hilarious.
Yeah, well, he's best in the world, isn't he? Well, if you want to say Gordon Ryan. Well, Gordon Ryan's back now, isn't he? He's in action today, is he?
Is he?
I think so. Yeah.
Dang, I'll have to go watch that then.
Yeah, who's number one? I'm pretty sure I've seen it all over Instagram. He's back, but yeah, Craig Jones is definitely, like, second best in the world, then, isn't he? That's what he puts on his Instagram, isn't he? And his what's his new gym called? B Team Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah. So because like the death squad split up, and so all the guys that aren't with Gordon Ryan are the B team.
Yeah. I was like, has Craig asked you to go down there at all? Down to Austin for a trainer sesh? Do you guys still like text and stuff, or?
Yeah, we've talked about that a bunch, actually. I've stayed in contact with most of the coaches after the show. I message Volk all the time. He even offered to call me on fight week, and Craig messaged me before and after my fights, and we stay in contact. And so I've been talking to him about going down there. Everything's kind of slowed down because of my knee injury, but as soon as I'm healed up and ready to go, I'm definitely gonna make a trip down there and see Craig and get some good training in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's so good. Like, that shows like really good, it shows a good side of those guys. Like Volkanovski as well. I know a lot of people can be very different on camera and like off camera, but Volkanovski just seems like such a cool dude. You know what I mean? I think
he's, for sure.
I feel like he wouldn't change if he was off air to what he's like on air,
No, he's too genuine. That's how he is everywhere. He's loud and doing all this stuff, and I think that's just like their group, because they like talk shit and they're loud, and and they're they have each other's backs, and it's just a tight knit group. Such a champion team. It's cool.
Yeah. And even after his win against Ortega, did you see him in his press conference? He was just like knocking the beers back, and he did a shoey.
Dude, they even did a few shoeys on the show. I wish they showed them, but yeah, I think Volk and the boys did like 3 or 4 shoeys throughout the whole TV series.
Oh, did they?
Funny. Yeah. Brian Battle and Ryder hopped in on a few. Oh, and Aaron. I never did that. That's not me. I'm not a big drinker anyways, but definitely not out of a shoe.
No, definitely not. I don't think I do it out of a shoe. Like,
no.
You see, like, especially Taito Avasa, isn't it? Bam Bam. Well, like, like, he'll win the fight and he'll walk out and then he'll just grab the random guy in the crowd's shoe and just start, he doesn't know whose shoe it is. He's just knocking back a beer from there. Drunk out of hell.
He's a guy that would do a shoey even if he lost. Just later that night, he would go and do a shoey.
Yeah. That's the Australian way, I think. No,
I guess so.
Yeah. That's another thing. Like, Volkanovski and Ortega, they had a bit of beef, didn't they, on the show? Was it like, I found the beef thing a bit fake, if I'm being honest, on the show. But closer to the fight then, obviously the tensions did get a lot, in the face-offs and stuff, you could see, right, maybe there is a bit of beef, but in the show, I don't know, was that a bit put on for the cameras,
People have said that, but there was actually a lot of, I guess it wasn't like, it wasn't beef, but, we were definitely, everyone on Volkanovski's team was getting a little irritated with Ortega, especially Volk, obviously, and the coaches were, because he would be late for stuff all the time. Like there was one time that we were getting ready to weigh in, and there's guys cutting weight and feeling like shit, and he was late to that, and so it pushed everything back. And so I wouldn't say I like had beef, but there was definitely some irritation with that, and Volk definitely felt it the most because he was always there early for everything. He was on time. You can just tell he's that kind of guy. He'll be there before you say to be there, because he wants to get after it and he wants to show like professionalism or whatever.
Yeah. And
the fact that Ortega wasn't, it got under Volk's skin. So I think that was pretty genuine. Obviously it wasn't anything too crazy, but you could tell that he was definitely irritated by it, because they would be talking shit off camera and stuff too.
Oh, when the cameras weren't rolling. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. They were still talking shit no matter what.
And you're gone. No, sorry, this.
I'm back.
And,
I'm back.
yeah, you're back. And obviously, meeting the big man as well, Dana White. Was that what was that like? Was he a good bloke as well?
Dude, that was surprising because I've seen Dana White on TV and stuff, and to see how big he was, he's jacked, bro. Like super jacked. And to see he's like one of these heavyweights out there, and see him walk through the doors the first time, I was like, damn. But no, that was a dream come true, just being able to get recognized and be on the show like that with Dana White talking to you, telling you guys that if you want to be a fighter, this is the way to do it, and all that stuff. It's pretty incredible. I've seen it since I was a kid, and it was cool to be a part of it.
Does Dana White, like, did he make time for all the boys and go and talk to you all like on your own and stuff, or was he just too? I can imagine being very busy as well. So
yeah, I think he's a little bit busy, especially with everything going on with the UFC. There's more fighters than ever, and everything's expanding, which is good for us fighters, right? We'll get paid more, we have more options. But in some ways, it kind of sucks because we didn't have as much time with the boss man. He was there for all the stuff you saw on camera, and then we kind of had a little meeting after. But compared to like what I heard my teammates like Mike and Juliana and Sam, what they got to do with Dana on the show, we were pretty limited. I think it also had to do with COVID, maybe a little bit too, but yeah, that was a little bit disappointing. That was probably the only letdown I got from the show, was the fact that we didn't get to spend as much time with the boss.
With Dana, yeah. Like you said, you were on the show during COVID times as well, and I think that's why as well it limited more maybe British fighters coming over as well, and like more different other people from different countries.
I agree. Yeah.
I still think it was a successful show, and hopefully, well, have they announced if they're doing it next year?
So no, I think, but from what I've heard from them is they got a deal that they're gonna do one a year for the next few years.
Ah, sweet.
So,
yeah.
I don't think they've announced it yet though.
Yeah, right. So obviously, Brady, like you're from, am I saying it right? Spokane?
Yeah, Spokane.
Spokane. Is that quite a small town, or
it's
big?
like we call it a little city. A little big city. So it's kind of in between. In Washington, it's the second biggest city.
Yeah.
But that's not really saying much because we don't got a lot of big cities in Washington. But I would consider it small, but about medium size.
Do you get noticed around town now? People come up to you and
stuff? Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Like, obviously not recently because I've been in town inside, but I usually go to quite a few. I'm traveling. I'm going to gyms and stuff, and for a while, it's almost like once a day, someone will be like, "Good job, man," and like come up to me and recognize me. So, it's pretty cool, especially when I'm working out and someone's like, you killed it on the finale show. I watched it. I thought you won, or all this stuff, and it kind of gives me energy.
Yeah. Well, it must be pretty cool, like you said, from there. And the Ultimate Fighter, was that on ESPN over in the States?
Yeah, it was on ESPN Plus.
Right. So how does that work over there? Do you have to go online and stream it?
Yeah, exactly.
On the telly? Yeah, right. Yeah. I think everything's streaming today. I don't even watch normal TV anymore. It's all
I don't even like see the point in cable. I don't get cable. Me, it's a waste of money because you can stream for $10 a month and you get, I feel like, more of what you want.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's either like a Netflix or I'm watching like something on YouTube or like UFC Fight Pass. And for our show, like our ESPN is BT Sport. Have you heard of BT Sport?
I think I've heard of it. I've never used it or anything.
Yeah, that's how we get all our UFC over here, which is it's pretty good actually because like the pay-per-view shows and stuff. Can we pay like a subscription and we don't have to pay for the pay-per-views? So how much is it?
Way.
Yeah, we lucky unless Conor McGregor's fighting. Who else? I think Khabib's last fight I had to pay like £20 for that. But all the other pay-per-views like Israel Adesanya if he's fighting or who fought last for the title? Can't remember. But yeah, my point being that we don't. I just pay one monthly subscription, and then I get all the pay-per-views as well, which I think is pretty cool.
For sure.
Whereas I think over with you is if you have ESPN Plus, if you want a pay-per-view, you got to pay on top of that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty expensive. It's like $70 here. So you get to pay like $15 for your subscription, and then you got to pay another $70 for the pay-per-view when it comes around.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, see, isn't it? Especially for like the working class and stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I'll find any way to get it for free. Like I'll usually just go to my local Buffalo Wild Wings and watch it on their time. Just get some wings. I'd rather spend the $20 on food and sit at a bar than pay for it and sit at home.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's the worst thing for us over here though, because prime time pay-per-views is 3 a.m. over here.
Oh, dang.
So it's like, fuck. If it's a big card, I'll set my alarm to get it. Otherwise, I'll just don't go on no social media. And I'm like, right, don't look at nothing. And I just watch the fights back then,
Dang, yeah.
It's going to be good. Is it next week? Or Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira? That's in Fight Island. That's in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, is that next week?
I think it's the 30th of October. Yeah. So it's not this Saturday, next Saturday. It's
that's gonna be a great fight.
Great fight.
It's cool that they're bringing Fight Island back. That would have been such a dream to fight on Fight Island. That sounds amazing.
Dana's he's talking. He wants to be there like a lot now, I think, doesn't he? So
yeah,
maybe that's what you'd like to go over there, would you? Go to Abu Dhabi?
Oh, I would love to just experience that. It's history. One of my, Mike Hiestand, he was main event of one of Fight Island's cards. So
yeah.
He told me a lot about it. They like have a nice hotel, get to see the beach and stuff like that, and it sounds incredible.
Yeah, you got the Ferrari course around the hotel as well, is there?
Yeah, Ferrari World. Yeah. Like with the speed trap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks cool too. I always see it on my coach's story. He'll like take a video of cars racing by.
Yeah.
When he's over there.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Like you see, especially like the bigs, like the Dana White, and I think when Conor McGregor fought there, you want to see how well they got treated. Like they had Dana White they made it. I know Dana White's the boss man, but he had his own gym in his suite, didn't he? Do you see his video? Dana
No,
White?
I missed that. You have to send me that because I want to see it.
Yeah, and they made the gym so it looked like this gym back in Las Vegas. So it was like, oh, so you're away from home, but you're not away from home. So it was like pretty much identical to his gym back in Las Vegas. That's how well they get looked after,
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm sure I'll have to, build up to get that treatment.
Yeah.
A little bit more fights, a little bit more time, but
I think even like I follow like a lot of the fighters and stuff on social, and even like the lower, like, the not so big names, like their rooms looked amazing as well. And they write little messages on the mirror and they give them like little gifts and stuff. It's seemed like they get looked after very well over there.
Oh yeah. UFC takes care of us for sure. There's a lot of people complaining, but I haven't had any issues. I'm blessed.
Yeah. What obviously you don't have to say this or nothing, but like obviously you've got a contract now with the UFC, have you? Have they given you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah. Is that like a what is it, like a 3-fight deal, or is it what's the goal?
So it's a 7-fight deal.
Oh wow, awesome.
Yeah. And obviously it goes up every time I win, and I negotiate partway through, but in total it's a 7-fight deal with the UFC. It's pretty incredible.
That was awesome. Yeah. I heard like I don't know, it's quite an interesting take. Like Sean O'Malley, have you heard him talking about his deal recently?
I haven't yet. What's up with his deal?
So he's pretty much saying, like, obviously Sean O'Malley's on this big rise, isn't he? And he signed, I'm just say a 7-fight deal he signed, and obviously he's been winning really well. So they've offered him like a bigger name, like tougher fights and stuff. And like I think they offered him Dominic Cruz actually, and he turned down the fight because he said, my contract, because I'm not getting paid enough in my contract to fight someone that big.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Patty's been saying that too, right? Is like if they're gonna fight bigger names, they want to get paid bigger money.
Yeah, that's right. But Sean O'Malley's been saying the same thing, because imagine like you now, you've signed a 7-fight deal and you win, I don't know, 6 in a row. Like obviously they're going to give you, even if you win 5 in a row, you're going to be fighting like, you know, probably a top 15, top 10 guy, I'd say, wouldn't you? So I don't know.
Sure. I think so, yeah.
I'm not sure how it'd work. Would they maybe negotiate something with you then, or would they just keep you on that contract you're on, you know? I don't know.
I think as your name builds and like if you're in a position, you know, with a big following and that you will attract money, I'm sure you can renegotiate.
Yeah.
And if you're fights and stuff like that, I think you can definitely go back and be like, hey, I need to make more money for this fight. And from my history, I've heard that the UFC is pretty good at negotiating stuff like that. Yeah. So obviously that makes sense and you're making them money, that I'm sure they would renegotiate with you.
Yeah.
Oh, did I lose you? A little frozen.
Okay, I can see. I can hear you. There you are. You hear me?
Yeah.
That's right.
You just froze for a second there.
That's all right. We've been going quite smooth so far. It's that's the only bad thing about bloody Zoom. Well, you can have it cut out, but it's quite marvelous. Like I think it's pretty cool. Like I'm speaking to you now, obviously on the other side of the world, and it's it's like having a conversation, isn't it? You know, go back.
For sure. 20 years ago, this would never have happened. This would have been like pretty hard to do. So it's incredible what technology can do now.
Yeah. Well, even bloody 10 years ago. Not even 10. Yeah. I don't even think, 10 years ago, you couldn't do it, you know, but that's why I feel quite like doing it like this. I find this better because I can speak to someone in America. I can speak to someone in Australia, New Zealand, you know? So spreading the wings I am at the minute, but no, I've been enjoying it. But yeah, obviously now, like you said, Brady, what's obviously you got, well, I normally ask what's the plans over the next 12 months, but 9 months now just recovering and just looking after yourself, watching what you eat, I suppose. Is that hard for you to watch what you eat when you're not mobile?
Oh, for sure, dude. I'm a fat kid at heart. I love food. I like it. The problem is I like food and I can eat pretty healthy, but I like to eat a lot of food, and I can put food down if I try. Yeah. So that's the hardest part of just doing this, because I'm like just sitting here and I'm like, ooh, I go make a burger, I get some Uber Eats, you know, and that's all I think about, you know. But luckily I've been keeping my weight pretty low. I haven't been getting too heavy. I'm not close to that yet. So but you're keeping it down.
But you're only 6 days in, so
that's true.
Yeah, 6 days in.
It feels like way longer. I know, like 2 days ago I was doing stuff and I'm like, dude, that feels like a week ago.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sitting here at, you know, I got like, you know, a rotation I do with my movement machines and my icing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of time spent in this living room, and it's definitely getting a little bit hard. I like to get out, and I'm always usually doing stuff, hiking, biking, you know, obviously training and stuff like that. So it's definitely a switch for me right now, but it'll be a challenge, but I'll get over it. And, you know, I'll come back and get my training in and get back to fighting here soon.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to briefly ask as well, I should have brought it up earlier, but you were living in the fire brigade as well. Are you still there now? Do you still do that?
Well, yeah, right now, luckily, you know, my mom's super supportive and everything of me. So luckily during my recovery, she's been letting me stay with her.
Yeah.
And she's a nurse practitioner, which is pretty much a doctor. So she helps me a lot with my recovery and different stuff like that. But technically I still live at the fire station. So, you know, usually I go back there when I'm not recovering, and I stay there and I work on Sundays. And then other than that, yeah, you know, I love being there, you know, especially because in my situation, obviously I'm not making millions of dollars.
Yeah. So
it's a great way for me to save money while I'm training and building up my fight, you know, and all this stuff. But yeah, I still live there.
What is the go, like, you know, take injuries and everything away now, but what is like the week? What's your average week when you're at the fire brigade?
So I stay there every night.
Yeah.
But my schedule, I kind of make my own schedule. So at the beginning of the month, I pick all my shifts.
Right.
I have to work at least 5 24-hour shifts. So usually it's like every Sunday I'll pull a 24-hour shift. But other than that, I kind of do whatever I want. It's just like I have a room there. You know, I'll hop on calls if they need a little extra help or all that stuff, and you know, I'll make food with the guys and you know, hang out there with them. But it's pretty much just like I have a little apartment at the fire station, and I work my shifts, and then I just go and stay there at night. And then usually I'm gone most of the day training and teaching kids jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. But it's pretty cool. You know, all the guys at the fire station are super chill. You know, I always like shoot the shit with them. They give me shit, I give them shit. We make good food and all that stuff. It's a pretty cool experience.
Is there a few of you live there, or just have you got the penthouse there?
Sometimes they had there's 3, but I'm the only resident. Oh,
I missed that. What you said, you're the only one there? It cut out, it did.
Yeah. I'm the only one there right now. I've been the only one there for like the past year.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like everyone comes and they know I live there, so I'm like the resident, and you know, there's always at least 2 people on shift, you know, 24 hours. So there's a bunch of cycle guys that I get to hang out with and chill with.
Wow. So you're a busy, like you say, you're a busy dude. Like you say, if you're training probably twice a day, teaching jiu-jitsu to kids, and if you're not training, you're saving the world. Then you could say the planet.
Just the community, just saving, you know, grandma when she falls down, maybe going to a burning house or 2. But like I was saying, you know, I think I said it in the interview before, but you know, that stuff's pretty fun. You know, being a fireman, and you know, obviously I can see if it's your full-time job, it can get kind of stressful. But the fact that I only have to do it like once a week, you know, it's kind of a fun thing for me to do. I get to go and like, you know, practice all these skills. I get to drive the big fire trucks around and talk on the radio. It's pretty fun for me to do that. And then it also helps out with training because I get, you know, a free place to live, and I get to train full time.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about paying for rent and stuff. You know, especially before I got in the UFC, these paychecks from fights weren't that big. And so it was pretty easy for me to train and, you know, still get the food and supplements I got while living at the fire station.
Yeah, awesome. Do you think? Do you reckon Stipe's work? Does Stipe work in like a fight direct? Do you know, like, does Stipe Miocic work in the fire station, like flat out when he was the heavyweight champ? Do you think, or do you reckon he's got like a deal like you? Maybe,
you know, I'm not quite sure because his is a little different because he's actually paid. You know, like I get paid a little bit, but it's also like pays for my rent and stuff. So he's like an actual employee. But I've heard from people that maybe he gets a little bit more time off when it gets to his fight camps and stuff like that.
Which is fair.
But yeah, maybe he's part-time. I assume he's probably part-time firefighter. I don't see him being a heavyweight champion of the world, training as much as he does and being full-time. That just seems like a little bit too much.
Yeah. Even if you heard of Chris Dawkins, the heavyweight, he's fighting Derek Lewis December now. Oh,
I've seen him, but I haven't you know, I haven't researched him too much, or I don't really know his story.
He's a police officer in like a really rough area of Philadelphia.
No way.
Yeah, and I was watching. They did like a bit of a promo on him, and he's just finished now, like before his last fight. I can't remember who he fought, but he knocked this guy out. He's on a tear. He's knocking everyone out, like with his fight in the Black Beast in December. So you can see how quick he's gone. Yeah. But like you said, he was working like pretty much as a full-time police officer, and but whilst in the UFC as well, you know. But I think
that's pretty impressive.
And it's
I
was saying.
I wonder if because, you know, I think heavyweights, you know, a lot of it's physical. You know, if you have that knockout power like Derek Lewis, you know, you don't have to worry as much about as other things, you know. So I wonder if you're gifted with that knockout power, the training is less important. Obviously, training's important stuff, and you got to get in. But when you have that right hand, it's a little bit easier on the rankings. Plus, there's not as many heavyweights out there.
True. They do say the smaller boys the divisions are tougher, aren't they? Obviously, they're all tough, but it's harder to go up the rankings. I think from, like they say, lightweight down or welterweight down, don't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of 155ers out there in the UFC too, so it's like a big division to try to climb.
Yeah, I was listening to who was I listening? Maybe like Daniel Cormier's podcast, and he was saying like the bantamweight division they reckon is like the best in the UFC at the moment. At one time it was all about the lightweights at one stage, wasn't it? It was like with the McGregor and the Khabib and but yeah, bantamweight's got some killers, man.
For sure. I think for quantity of like high level, competitors, I think bantamweight is king. I think the lightweight division got a lot of attention for a while because they had a lot of high level guys, and there was a lot of big personalities, a lot of big, big fights up there too. But I think 35 is building up, obviously with Sugar Sean, we got Dominic Cruz. Now we got the beef with, Aljamain and Peter Yan. And we got a lot of good guys. You look at the top 15 in bantamweight and you're like, damn, all those guys are tough as hell.
Oh yeah. Like you say, you got Jose Aldo down there now as well. In fact, who you got fighting this weekend? Chito Vera and Frankie Edgar. They bantamweights, aren't they? Yeah.
Exactly. What's his name? Who just knocked out Frankie? He's fighting too soon. He's fighting for the interim belt.
Oh, Sandhagen.
Sandhagen's a killer.
Yeah.
And then we got there's Marab out there. There's
Marab, yeah.
He just fought Marlon Moraes.
Yeah.
They just fought in a crazy exchange.
That was crazy fight, that was. Yeah. Before you let you go, Brady, I'll ask you that before, we'll finish on that note. Obviously, you got that. It's in your weight category. Petr Yan versus Sandhagen. I think that's next week too. The same card as Jan Blachowicz in Abu Dhabi. Give us your thoughts. Who's gonna pick up that win?
I've been watching. Obviously, I study my division, and those are two of the guys that I love watching the most. I love watching Peter Yan, and then I love watching Sandhagen. But I think, dude, Peter Yan is a Terminator. I love his style, and he's quick, and he has the pressure, but he's also very good at this defense, and his wrestling is on point. Obviously, I think he out grappled Aljamain, which is pretty impressive. And so I think as a well-rounded fighter, I think Peter Yan takes it. But the only way I see Sandhagen winning is, he's so unorthodox. If he slips one through, I think he could finish it. But I think overall, I got Peter Yan.
Peter Yan, good choice.
Yeah,
I like that choice. I think Peter Yan will be he'd be a tough guy to beat, wouldn't he, Peter Yan?
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot about
sound everywhere.
I forgot about Dillashaw's back too, isn't he? He's back.
Dude, yeah, we got Dillashaw too. Look at this division. It's crazy.
Like you say, he just beat Sandhagen it was a pretty close fight, but he still got the W, But yeah, fuck. No, I'm excited to see what's ahead for you, Brady. So
thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Next 12 months.
I'm excited to make this climb.
Definitely, man. And don't forget the old CD Sport podcast when you're rising up the rankings.
No, I had fun. I would love to talk to you again. So I won't forget about you. I promise.
The Welshman, the only Welshman you've met.
I know, it's pretty incredible. It's kind of interesting talking to someone so far away with a thick accent like yours. So
yeah,
I'd love to be back sometime.
Well, when you share this video now, people will be saying, "What's the fucking guy saying? Is he from where Conor McGregor's from? Is he from where Is he from where fucking Paddy Pimlet's from?"
Close.
Awesome, Brady. And what's your are you on Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz? Obviously, I know you're on Instagram, but any where can we find you on social media? And
either on Brain One, I'm on _Hiestand, and so that's where you can find me on social media.
Awesome. And obviously for myself, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, the CD Sport Podcast, and also my Instagram page, the CD Sport Podcast also. Spread the word on that one. Spread the love. Thank you, Brady. Brady Hiestand, everybody.
Boom. I'll talk to you later.